Hello, regarding the impeachment proceedings of Congress. Through administrations, they were all recorded how used remotely originally and still. It's very simple. You have to follow logic with no criminal foreign influences, no sequence shifts, and that is actually honest. Actually, with criminally foreign influence, without criminally foreign influence, premises treatments, sequence treatments, identity treatments, also, which is relevant here. Now, so I never had a conversation about delusions or anything with doctors. They forge names, switch names, and attach me to fake and others to fake locations, fake words that weren't at all. They couldn't have misperceived me. Could have been a miscommunication, like with the Leahy family, two Brendan Leahys, women in their family, and a whole bunch of people tied to them and their brothers and sisters involved crimes with child sex offenders, even with female judges, even with medical offenders. Now, these are doctors in the Leahy family that forged names. Also, there's a Dr. Shamsi Ali, who recorded, confessed, and demonstrated over the phone at his private residence that he's one of the doctors. They put me in a whole fake detailed conversations, never had a conversation at all with them. They forced me 3 days in a triage of Hartford Hospital and with an Institute of Living is on their campus. They have these places, interstates, intercities, where they send people for mental evaluation, where we have the identity laws in collusion with overt criminal enterprises, with private ones, and with the interbranch. So now, in a perfect world, you'd be able to sue them, and we will. But we have to get them from the names forging and switching. We're going to have the perfect world defended. You're going to discern it actually through science, which it is increasing. They want to keep that rules with this sick method since before our foundings were born. Our parents were born. Forced nations individually grouped together. Their identities used in relationship to the fact sheet nature of everyone rolls with slavery. Everyone's slavery, including our founding parents. Slavery actually recorded. People recorded effectively originally and still comparing it just to further it, valuing it further, because they're only defending means like Mr. Schiff, pretending, oh, we must remember what it means to say no one is above the law. In other words, that's quote, we all have to stay, pretend we're not liars, pretend we're not rules with our identities, with our premise treatments, theirs, their sequence treatments, their identity treatments, their premises treatments, criminally foreign influences, and simultaneously delusions raw. And now those are as standing sense and sensibilities, as standing criminal and serious natures. So they have positive treatments where they value roles with not by accident already standing predicate acts delivery system, all locations further and further tied to all formal and private database relationships, all that interbranch, intercampuses of each age and nature, and then in further intersciences abridged, recorded methodically, effectively, maintain self-value, abridged, identity, ground relationships to our quality of fact, human nature actually. Sequence true, order the finite value, system, value, order of active value, fact human nature as fact human nature, order of progressive value as fact human nature, order of identities value, complete and simultaneously. Negative value nature, like simultaneous, like sequence nature, is only perfect world getting bigger. Positive, also positive unto itself as simultaneous nature. This is not just to say that the English is revealed to teach about what the alphabet is revealed, manifest right to left and left to right value at the same time. This is from before zero and from bigger than infinity. at the same time making more identities of infinity nature, one identity of forever nature is the forever flower, making more and more cells, more and more identities, more and more trinities as its identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that, which we leave out, leaving out and having had left out self-value, the real how we are a value systems tactically ulterior from the one that we are, like per the engineering of why we are individual, group, sex, species, three natures of volume that are connected to where and how we are a complete identity of volume. And one identity of volume will only, and it can only stay complete, which includes not just the value of us being positive to all groups and to the species. It means that positive can't be a criminal and serious nature. And see, these are different takes on positive and negative, because the science has obligations to have different, distinct, non-distinct, and simultaneous treatments of the order of sequence true. The value of it, the value of the order of the value of the order of the finite, the value of the order of what is active, the value of what is progressive, and identity. We have all positions of all locations originally still, all positions of all locations criminally foreign influenced victims of the breaching method to that, effectively having maintained everyone blaming other things, others themselves, even Native Americans, for the real cause of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, even when right, not by accident. This juxtaposed everyone to nature's needs, motivations, tactically ulterior from its own, and their self-valued roles with it kept needing how to hide it. This was sophistication before these identity of law, identity of what they call democracy, pretending its value because they needed to hide their lipoaggressions. They needed to hide from and hurt and value hurt. Each age of correlation nature simultaneously inherent active and progressive means this way. One way redeems. Many pray, Bach sings. So they have the identity of the ground locations of the sciences and of the religions. Self-valued, standing criminal insidious natures, incapable of defending their premises treatments, their treatments of positive of life conjunction, and the first part of the, and standing the first part of the Quran or of the Old Testament, treated this way. So they keep here and there. Identity defined through contrast. Victim predators per this method that stays fluent through our nations this way. And many pray. So they have been preventing mandated law by lying about what is actually recorded over the wires, lying about what is actually recorded over the mail, over online. These are sequence shifts inside, insidiously and overtly, from inside of courts. All the natures of courts of Connecticut, on off the state judicial branch offices, not by accident, all along that route and the road that goes by it through time. Their roles with offensive evidence reception and perception, lies, worse than lies. Predicate acts roles with the wire crime, mail crime, criminal use of Congress actually recorded. Used remotely right now, pretending they don't realize that then and now. Straight line since before the World Trade Center attack. Hartford Superior Court confirmed. Also recorded and confessed all the people tied to them from outside of their court, leading up to the World Trade Center attack. Since the Trade Center attack, their predicate acts delivery system roles, predicate acts roles, wrongdoing roles, sequence shift roles, falsified police reports roles, identity theft roles, identity fraud roles, identity racketeering roles, self-value. They have lies about they have criminal readings of statutes when they pretend that they are legitimate with their treatments of motivations and relationship to these evil acts, way worse than crimes. way worse than war crimes. This is uses of identity that has other identities of nations here involved with it. And there as victims, so they can be victims pretending other, as forced to. The a person from Ukraine repeated to me, involvements recorded, confessed, confirmed. UPS recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. They're involved with predicate acts on and off the state of Connecticut judicial branch offices, on and off Trinity College, on and off Fox Connecticut News, on and off WFSB, on and off Central Connecticut State University, on and off child campuses, on and off fire campuses. Now they're lying about what is actually recorded over the phones. They have been forging and switching names. They have various natures of police forms, CIA, FBI, involved with the Wethersfield Police Department, involved with foreign and domestic military involved with them. Now they have Taekwondo places. They have the families associated with the food bag, also involved with these officers, Wethersfield Police Department, with other officers and judges and prosecutors and their family, their kids involved with child sex offenders, medical offenders. Their roles on and off campuses with their sequence predicate acts roles with databases, lying about we have some sick medical predators with the databases of the kids in the schools. Uses of sensibilities and relationship through time with that. Now there's a person with the name Mike P. There's an Eric Knerr and other names with the Facebook involved with human trafficking with WFSB. And with New Britain Superior Court, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also on and off WFSB's location, involved with racketeering with them with the locations next to them. And worse than racketeering, predicate acts, delivery system roles that are systems bonded, because then they're systems of liars. In relationship to the evidence racketeering, the sick database relationships roles also that kept and keeps each interbranch, each science, each campus, and then each science further, needing to highlight progressions to all locations further and further. They are incapable of making America great again. With this Congress used remotely, each president used as a victim, forced to be predator roles, forced to be. That's what they were using. They wanted to vent. They're denying exception nature, which we should have discerned by now. But our logic experts here, our logic experts are recording criminally foreign influence, delusions raw, and involved with the remote uses of all the courts in Connecticut, interstates, as one's further involved with on and off the Ninth Circuit Court right next to the Trade Center attack, leading up to it, and in those contexts, also outside the World Trade Center, as the people further involved with these predicate acts, lying about behavior. Their behavior in relationship to where they're forcing names, switching names, attaching people and their family members to fake words, fake locations, with kids, with child offenders. We have to counter the women leaders' roles with child offenders, and especially the ones who were child abused and sexually, as their roles like Heather Hansen, with the men on and off Central Connecticut State University, on and off Trinity College, on and off UConn, involved with them with predicate acts and with wrongdoing, and with people all along Church Street and all Wethersfield, and then with their head Samuel Dick's house. I mean, with the Webb House, which they changed the name of, Certainly, insidiously, and where George Washington had to come leave overt slavery, even with color, in Wethersfield and Hartford, in the north, right here between New York and Boston. With the French general's help, even then, he could only semi-counter extort that would have that with the slavery of everyone here. Sickly that way, so when it played out exactly how it did. Since before cars, this pathology of homes. Sick punk fakes with medicine, pretending they know about pathology because they do about medicine. But we're playing word games here with punks who want to debate the predicate, debatable out of sequence, preventing free speech from reporting sequence shifts that show actually recorded predicate acts, evidences crimes, criminal uses of each age of fact-sheeping nature, each location, each position of each location, each area, in each state of each modern nation at once sickly, let alone how sickly non-distinctly, too, how sickly individually grouped it together, effectively maintaining itself, effectively unchallenged self-value fluent through our nations, fake as hell from here, from A to Z. Not me. Now, so we have passions and emotions. We have physical delusions with the experts on passions and emotions. And now the courts are crime methods individually grouped together, everyone that works for them, how they are maintained and have been maintained, live progressions, criminal uses of all location, rolls with it, all locations, originally still, sicker method. But as the ones that with that method that had everyone playing positive anyway, as criminal and serious nature, never had the right to be legalized and maintained this way. They never had integrity. Right since before the World Trade Center attack, Connecticut courts and their family members and the police, interbranch, private insurance companies, police respond here. Hey, you want to do an investigation? Follow here. What is true, not deny exceptions. Exception in exception nature. Have a rule with what is true always. Have a rule with logic's actual course. Well, how you teach about physical delusions? I'm not even a doctor. I'll delineate their physical delusions from their criminal foreign influence souls with you here. Follow mandated law for WFSB, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They attached me and others to fake locations, fake words, fake ties to other people, fake natures of ties to other people. They did this with and as many from Connecticut, dozens involved interstates with all kinds of sick New York system fake justice pretending other offensively and with all private tied to them, like CNN. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated predicate acts against people that work for Paul Manafort. Their predicate acts rules, uses of their identity, the ground, location of CCSU with intercities, child offenders, abandoned natures, on and off the campuses of each age connected. Now they keep the people I barely know that were in class with them in grammar school, in high school, or in middle school, pretended other, like in middle school, like with this Kerr family, further involved with courts, New Britain Superior Court, other courts, two Mendez police, a Phil Collo, all these people who reported confessed roles, also with the Dollar Fair family, with the same house in my area, with their extended family members, like a Phil Collo. A whole bunch of people involved with them with predicate acts in Middletown, too, Middletown locations. For falsified police report rolls, identity theft rolls, identity fraud rolls, identity racketeering rolls. Now they also have gay groups, then they bring in the lesbians. Like Carla Greco. Then she takes the post away before I even got to respond to it. Offensively, she's making confessions to me about her sexual orientation and her roles with Anthony Yagman, Joshua Julian, also confirmed, recorded, and confessed, involved with them with predicate acts, interbranch Facebook pages, intercampuses Facebook pages, involved with them with predicate acts with child sex offenders' families on the registry. Then one that was on the registry then, but there were extended family members, people tied to them, with predicate acts, falsified police reports, other natures of crimes. Just because people live there, people never mean there. I've had a conversation. They're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved. I don't even know the names of brother and sister associated with Eric Jensen. Repeated confessions about them. Near me. One of the only contexts I know them in. Only context, all of them juxtaposed on and off those locations, databases involved, predicate acts, child abuses, roles with UPS with involved with that. Roles with so respond for them. I never had a conversation with Charlie Bowles in my life, never had a class with him. He's one of the people involved with police forms, involved with my town police chief's daughter. I don't even know her name. I never had a class with her. Never hung around with her. She recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people from my grade. She was in my school. People with other grades involved with identity theft, sequence shifts. They have whole grades involved with it. Then they have the sensibility. They won't make opinions. No one knows. I don't have to have a conversation with people I never had a conversation with. They are preventing me Interbranch from getting a response. They use their location. The Bryn Superior Court recorded, confessed, and demonstrated to me. They have falsified police reports with child sex offenders on and off campuses, intercities tied through time with the O'Brien family, also with the religious locations, with the Kerr family, with the Justin Klavinskis. I don't know his wife's name. I don't know the Kerr family's wife's name. There's a Mogman girl. Other little girls with those little creepy weirdos that never grew up. And now these are people also who have jobs like titles with badges that are getting out. Pretend someone doesn't have a job because they're involved with extortion actually recorded. We're going to examine the actually recorded line progressions from the branches of government each. We're going to examine their uses of words like behavior criminally. Because how they've been forging names, switching names. Because how it was used, that all the governments as victims had to react to. Without knowing how to react to it. Not by accident, the real cause of negative value nature progression. Action natures are a mascara. So they had to blame other things, others themselves, had to hide that, because they still have to pretend to be integrity, or they are punished at the trade center attack level. Self-valuing that, because they need to hide their personal hypogressions, their personal uses of each identity ground, branch, involved, intercampuses of each age and nature, further, intersciences, actually recorded, breaching method, simple method role, all these other natures, motivations, needs, interests, like DACA, like markets positions. They have obligations to put a virtual company up there just for damage control if it drops. Well, let me up all positions of all locations, areas and states of it as each modern nation shoots in time. You fake, you camels, fool! Also, Connecticut military, respond here for this. What's his name? A Rob schedule, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people with predicate acts. I never had a personal conversation with him and his sister. They pretended conversation about a sequence of former Mayor Gould. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with them with crimes of child offenders. Also medical with their patients and criminal involved with them, foreign and domestic. Whiting forensics location involved with predicate acts with many people tied to former director of the FBI and his fellow criminals and their family members involved with predicate acts on my street. And with the FBI and with the witness protection program tied to it, as ones involved with World Trade Center predicate acts roles. Confessions that a Leahy family has been involved with drugs, crimes, formal, untimely deaths, falsified police reports, officers in my area. Tyson's Jackson family, also involved with them. World Trade Center direct. Uses of Obama, of the Obama administration, of Trump, of all the presidents remotely. Forced to rely, forced to glorify what is sick. Third, respond for Robert Schedule. Respond for the Air Force witness Paul Kelly. His house also involved with people with falsified police reports, roles with untimely death, drug crimes on and off Trinity College. Their roles with election crimes, uses of Megyn Kelly to prevent mandated law with child sex offenders. Where physical delusion, self-value by the branches with her, make opinions about things she doesn't know about. Refer to databases involved with interbranch, dozens from each spot. Sick. See to the stick. You break them now and find the seed. You fall. See to it, Bill Wall. Now I want you to respond in a peaceful manner. These are aggressive, sick, fake punks. Then they attach you to fake words. And then the hide their sequences with Connecticut courts involved with the Ninth Circuit of New York City, involved with the whole Justice Department of New York City. Sick, fake, real fake. Now there's a Fred Grisey with people from New York City, people who reportedly recorded and confessed involved with Staten Island, involved with crimes with intercities, interwestern interstates, on off campus of each age and nature, private school kids involved with predicate acts, delivery system rules, identity thefts, frauds, racketeering sequences, falsified police reports, and in this method where they don't let anyone have a means to counter. So they can keep uses. This is recorded, confessed, demonstrated. They have the place where they have the clubs in New Haven, downtown New Haven. They have the place where they have the clubs, Hartford, Connecticut, involved with predicate act delivery system minerals with a whole bunch of other nations, federal criminals, overt criminal enterprises, private ones, involved with retired and standing police chiefs of Hartford. Respond now, because the former director of the FBI. Don't let them persuade you. You respond like here, like men. Now to the punks. Fox Connecticut News, fiction, fake news. Get down. Fix your time and positions. You're sustaining child abuses with medical offenders. You sick. You got medical women offenders also with the women interbranch leaders involved with the predicate acts with the child offenders, even sexual. You sick motherfuckers. For involving them, they even have you breaching tools. You preventing people from calm means to defend ourselves. And when people react rightfully with less than violence with guns, no. They're learned by our behavior. Same ones involved with the shootings in North End of Hartford through time. Fox Connecticut News. I fix your fake news real fast. And then I WFSBs involved with the unlawful locations and private security with your sick roles. You fix, you pick where you deny, and you pick one name in sequence, as that's also involved with the predicate acts. There are methods of forging names and switching names, also with state's attorneys, involved also with confessions, other roles with DACA, with other nations with this. A whole bunch of people tied to a DeMauro family. Also, off Trinity, Central Connecticut State University, predicate acts with a detective who pretended he was an arresting officer of me. Forged names, switching names with Officer McDonald's from East Hartford. That's distinct from the name Manos, who's one of the people who recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by FBI and by CIA and by their families involved with their narratives, with their crimes, also with child sex offenders, medical offenders. Those motherfuckers sequence shift too. Before I responded to all their drug clicks with areas, pretending that I said things. I knew that, like, about with this Leahy family, other doctors with the drug clicks, untimely deaths on off the campuses, predicate acts with prosecutors, with judges, with their family members, with them. You have some sick people from Middletown through time, also with the interstates, worse than foreign. Also, other VA people involved with the racketeering acts of the Leahy family. A whole bunch of them. Tied to Anthony Agnew, his brothers, his family. Neighbors, I don't even know the name of them. They're the ones that are attaching me and others for the schools next to them. These are us next to schools. Attach people their own age to fake locations. Because they have to hide life progressions tied to their roles also with falsified police reports. Also their roles doing that with overt criminal enterprises. Recording how kept needing to hide sequence shifts, find out lies, active lies, progressive lies. Identity thefts, frauds, and worse than racketeering lies with the branches of government. Justin Klavinskis. Some military family that says that is reportedly dishonorably discharged is also with others on off Cedar Hill Cemetery, on off Goodwin Park, on off that gravestone place at the end of the Burlington Turnpike, recorded and confessed and demonstrated, as you also confirmed, your father rolls with military police, with predicate acts involved, intercities on off schools, private, and Central Connecticut State University. You also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated your wife rolls with this. What was her maiden name? Would you get out the paper now with the Wethersfield police chief and with his Dillon family? Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. I never had a conversation with these Dillons. They are recorded since I was a kid, involved with child abuses. Are people now further involved as adults with child abuses, even sexual, even medical with the kids? Medical! They have line progressions for those databases. Tied to the courts, they have line progressions also. Not by accident. A Kerr family. And a whole bunch of people from CCSU. I never saw them on the campus of CCSU, Central Connecticut State University, or of Trinity College. I don't know if they went there either. But Joe Aiello and others, like a Zeno family, are recorded, and like a Mayano family, are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with falsified police reports and databases racketeering and secret shifts with identity theft, frauds, and Western racketeering roles with a John Mayano, with a house in my area, with their extended family members like a Phil Colo and like a Frank Rosé, and with a whole bunch of people on and off Two-Route Highway, where it runs into Hangdog Lane and where it runs into the Burlington Turnpike before the heart of Hartford. What's most be taken up? Fake. CT is so you get me response because Wethersfield Police Department are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated predicate acts, roles, uses of their Facebook pages with a Mike Pete and with people with the name KNERR and with a Kerr family. They recorded, confessed, and demonstrated as ones further involved with predicate acts with people on the child sex offenders registry and with their family members involved with them with predicate acts also on off the Wethersfield town offices, on off the school next to it, on off the schools next to it. That's right, the middle school and the high school are right next to each other. Now these are also people, the Wethersfield post office and a business next to it is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people with the FBI and with the CIA and with military, foreign, and domestic. Programs like Police Explorers and things like that were involved. See, they built everyone using the right to lie. Fake! Now, I had nothing to do with these two Demain brothers. You will reveal them as little creepy little creeps with the people online I don't know at all, like this Mike Pete and like this Anthony Eggman. I barely know of him. One of and his brothers recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, also with a whole bunch of other brothers and families in his area involved with falsified police reports with that attached me and other people to fake locations, fake knowledge of those people, fake words with those people. Now this is like a Pandolf family around the corner from the Samuel Dix house between them. Yes, respond for Wethersfield Police now. Respond for YouTube. Please do the right thing. Your reactions to you guys are being coached to roles. These are former director of the FBI's federal criminal code defendants like Thaddeus Grabowski, involved with organized crime acts with men and women from my town. Also intercities on off Fox Connecticut News with him and with others. Involved further with that, involved with their as their roles also other ways with the child sex offenders, with prosecutors and their kids, who had roles with the principal sex offenders campus, then and further with more wire crimes, mail crimes, falsified police reports, uses of their locations that attach me and others to fake recorded words. They put us in quotes and they put it into their databases. Now these are interbranch, individually grouped and together, criminally involved here. You follow mandated law, Congress now, and you're going to be revealed how you've been speaking about behavior as sick, fake punks. Respond to my behavior here. Pick one name in sequence now. You follow mandated law. You respond to what you have it. Pick one name in sequence now. WFSB, fix the fake news. Your roles with the election spots, religious spots, also that way. Juxtapose ways. We're not going to debate the debatable, which is not even debatable, you'll see. Yeah.